Is in the car driving toward Bay City right now, which is also under curfew. Jade, what are you seeing where you are?
Good morning, you guys. Yeah, we were headed to Bay City, but we pulled over a bit just so you guys could see how strong these wind gusts are. They're literally blowing the rain across the roadway, and this has been going on all morning here. And these are just constant elements. We can feel the car shaking from these wind gusts, and these are not conditions that anybody wants to be out on the roadway. Obviously, we're doing it to bring you guys, the viewers, updates and constant information about this storm. But this is what it looks like going on the road, headed north, headed to Palacios. Again, we're headed to Bay City, and these are the conditions that we are seeing right now.
Well, Jade, I'm glad that you pulled off onto the side of the road right now, because no one wants to be driving in that kind of blinding rain. You mentioned that you're feeling the car shake a little bit too. Would you say that you've seen the wind definitely pick up just within the last 15 minutes?
Oh, definitely. The wind and rain have both picked up. Heavier rain, stronger wind gusts, and again, these are not conditions that people want to be out on the roadway in. And it's just, everyone is hunkering down. Nobody else is on the road. So, we're just making sure that everyone stays safe.
Okay, again, the National Weather Service reporting in Palacios, the wind is gusting up to 81 miles per hour right now.
Yeah, and so now we can see it. When you see it like this, it's a good idea to pull over. You'll notice that the roadways, we don't see pooling water because of the wind, which doesn't mean that it's safe for you to pass by.
Right.
So why don't we go ahead and check in with our chief meteorologist, Mike Diskovitz, who has been working double duty for you all weekend long to make sure that you're informed on air, online, on social here. So what is your main concern? Who should be the most affected right now? Like, what advice would you have for people living in certain locations for the moment?
Yeah, well, right now, I think Brazoria County, we got a lot of folks that, are watching us from like Angleton area, Lake Jackson, Freeport area. You guys, the wind is going to pick up even more. The storm surge is going to be a big deal anywhere near that Surfside Beach area. And then very quickly, over the next few hours, we're going to have it affecting Fort Bend County and even northern Brazoria County, like up around the Pearland. Also, those winds on Galveston Island are going to really start to pick up. I wanted to show you this. This is actually the reconnaissance flight from the hurricane hunters that are out there right now. And I know this looks like a bit of a mess, but I wanted to highlight a couple of things for you. So their highest measured wind speed, 92 miles per hour, out in the Gulf of Mexico. And this concerns me too. They measured a surface pressure right now. It's at least on our graphics here. The data that's coming down shows surface pressure of 971. As of the latest advisory, the pressure was 982. So 971 would be much lower. And if that is the case, then the storm is continuing to get stronger as it approaches the coastline. Tracking the eye of the storm, it's really about to make landfall. I mean, landfall really is more of a technicality. I mean, we're not going to notice anything once it makes landfall necessarily, but the northern part of the eye wall has already moved inland into Matagorda County. The center of the center is what they're going to, consider the landfall, and that really is probably only about, just a few minutes away. It'll happen probably within the next 30 minutes, but it's really areas away from the eye or the center where we're seeing some of the most dangerous weather. For example, that rain band moving into, like I said, Brazoria County, Lake Jackson area, Freeport area, and then another big rain band now moving into Galveston County. So from the island up through Dickinson and League City and all those spots, San Leon, you're really going to be inundated with very heavy rain. I wanted to show you also, by the way, how broad this center of circulation is, 40 miles wide. So for 40 miles out here, it's not raining at all. Of course, it's windy, but that's pretty amazing to see. All right, this is a way that we could measure cloud level winds. By that I mean the radar beam is coming here out of League City, so you're not exactly getting a wind on the ground, but you're getting it just above the ground. With Doppler radar, we can measure how fast the rain droplets are moving, basically. And so right now over here on Galveston, they're moving toward 58 miles per hour, and there's a wind that's coming in away from the radar over here, 78 miles an hour at 92 miles per hour up at cloud level, and that's probably a pretty good estimate. You maybe subtract 10 or 20 miles per hour off of that, and you're going to get that wind, pretty accurate measurement of the wind there. So we're talking about like 58, 62 miles an hour. This is getting more concerning. Okay, so this is the latest look at winds and wind gusts. In Houston, about a 25 mile an hour wind, but with winds gusting 36 to 39. But look what's happening closer to that center of circulation. Yikes. So Palacios, a north wind now. So they're on the the west side of the eye. A wind blowing offshore out of the north at 56 miles per hour sustained, gusting to 74 miles per hour. In Bay City, a sustained wind coming in from the west-northwest, from the east, northeast at 46 miles per hour. Angleton, look at that. You got an east wind coming in 35 miles an hour, gusting to 60 already. Galveston is at a 56 mile per hour wind gust. And the thing is, this is just the beginning for what we're going to see in Brazoria County over the next 2 hours. This wind is going to pick up. What we're going to see around Bay City, the wind is going to pick up. What we're going to see around El Campo and Wharton, and eventually into the Pearland and Sugarland area. Here's a look at our futurecast wind gusts, and this is our GFS computer model estimates here, showing that center of circulation moving by Bay City as we head toward about 5 or 6 o'clock this morning, maybe 6:30, and the winds. Now these are just the gusts, so it's not going to be a consistent sustained wind of 65 in Sugarland. It may be 45 with gusts to 65, and then it actually gets worse from there on out as we see really pretty widespread gusty winds up to about 60 to 70 miles an hour, even right in the city of Houston, even in Pasadena and Baytown and Webster and back up to Spring. We could see these 60, 65, even 70 mile per hour winds at times. Here's 3 p.m. as it's still windy around Houston, but getting better. And then by 7 p.m., getting a whole lot better. So this isn't a Harvey situation. It's not going to linger for a long time. It also is not a Hurricane Ike situation, although we are going to have a fairly substantial storm surge of about 5 feet, maybe 6 feet in some spots. Remember, Ike, we had a 15-foot storm surge, so this is not going to be as widespread. It also isn't going to be as long-lived. The high tides this morning, Galveston Island, depends on where you are, but some areas are going to see high tide at about 7, which is going to coincide with the storm surge coming in. So you take the storm surge and you have to add on top of that about another 1.5 feet, maybe 2 feet for the high tide. So we're going to have a lot of water inundation across Bolivar Peninsula and the west end of Galveston Island, also the harbor side Strand area of Galveston Island. This is the newest futurecast rainfall that has come in, and it's still showing amounts here. When you see white, we're talking about more than 8 inches of rain. So 8, 9, 10 inches of rain coming in to parts of Wharton and Fort Bend County, even here getting up into 6, 7, maybe 8 inches of rain across parts of Harris County. And even though Galveston is showing blue like 4 to 5 inches, it could certainly be more than that in some locations, because if you get stuck under one of these rain bands, the rainfall rates that come down are pretty incredible. A wide swath of 5 to 10 inches. As far as the timing is concerned, here we go. I'll look at the rainfall and the center of circulation. Looking ahead at 6:30 this morning, it is going to be nasty across the greater Houston area. Then it shifts up to Montgomery County, to Grimes and Waller counties coming up by around 10 o'clock this morning. We'll see some improvements in Houston by around 2 in the afternoon. And then, like I said, some pretty big improvements heading into the evening hours. We're going to get an update to probably the landfall coming up here within the next 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then we'll also get an updated wind speed that is likely going to be higher than 80 miles per hour. So right now, are we going back to Sally and Lena? We're going. Oh.
Palacios wind gust of 89.
Okay, so Allison just said Palacios just had a wind gust of 89 miles per hour. And you know what concerns me about that? I'm going to see if I can go back to this first graphic here. Allow me to this is going to zip through real quick, but this is what concerns me. So Palacios just had a wind gust of 89, you said?
Yep.
Okay. So let me just show you guys this real quick. I know this is kind of like on the spot I'm doing this, but so Palacios right now is getting a wind from the north. Now, if they just had a gust to 89, which hasn't registered here yet, but if they did, That's concerning because they're actually on the so-called, weaker side or cleaner side of the circulation right now. So if they're going to get 89, we could be looking at wind gusts here, Sargent and Freeport and those spots, maybe even higher than that. I mean, it could be 100. So yeah, those are the areas we need to be really, really concerned about right now. Brazoria, Matagorda, and then as we head toward 5, 6, 7 o'clock this morning, a lot more so into Fort Bend and northern Brazoria County. So a lot of our big suburbs and even Houston itself, mid-morning to late morning, very dangerous.